All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Sales Sherpa Live. My name is Scott Paulson, founder of Paulson Coaching and the Sales Sherpa program to guide your sales to new heights. I want to welcome you to today's webinar, Improving Sales Performance with Microsoft Outlook. That sounds like a rather peculiar title to me. How can an email program like Microsoft Outlook be used to improve sales performance? We've all been using email for years, right? So we have this email thing and this Microsoft Outlook thing down pat, and we shouldn't really need any help with it, right? Well, I'm guessing that since you're here and that I'm here on this webinar, that we really don't have this email thing down and this Microsoft Outlook thing all figured out. And that's really the case for millions and millions of professionals, including salespeople. I've been in sales for all my career, almost 30 years, but I almost didn't last my first 30 days. In college, I was a Division I scholarship athlete. I was a four-time letterman at Texas A&M University, a three-time GTE academic All-American, and I was even an All-American discus thrower one year. And all I ever wanted to do was become a collegiate track and field coach. But when that particular dream didn't manifest for my life, I had to put my finance degree to work, and I became a stockbroker here in Houston. I just took the first job offer that I got. And when I started, I was working 10 and 12-hour days. I was prospecting for clients while I was studying for my Series 7 exam. And after about 30 days, I was just ready to quit. Prospecting was the most frustrating thing that I had encountered in my entire life up until that point. And I really didn't know what I was doing. And then I found a book. It's called Prospecting Your Way to Sales Success by Bill Good. And it changed the trajectory of my career. That was where I had my very first big breakthrough in my career. That was in the mid 90s. And yes, that's 1990s for all you youngsters watching. Now, my second big breakthrough came a few years later when I learned the importance of win ratio and closing ratios. And I was able to double my results and double my income just by doubling my win ratio. And then my third big breakthrough, it came around 2005 when I was working for a corporate training company, and I learned how to use a program that I had been using for years in a much, much better way. It's a tool called Microsoft Outlook. And that's what we're going to talk about in this webinar. But first, but first, I want to tell you about the Sell Smarter with Microsoft Outlook program, which is now available on demand. You'll see details for it below the link, below this screen. Okay. We have a special going on. This program is normally $475, but stay tuned until the end of the webinar for a very special coupon code because we're going to give you 90% off. That's for $47, that's 90% off. So we'll have more details on this at the end of the webinar. So keep tuned to the very end. All right. All right. Let's jump right into the agenda today. First, we're going to touch on the most common reasons that salespeople do not close their sales. So this will give us some insights into those areas where Microsoft Outlook can actually help us. And then we're going to get into the Sell Smarter method using Microsoft Outlook to actually help us close more sales. And then I'm going to launch into a demonstration using my very own Microsoft Outlook, and it'll show you, some simple changes that will prove how powerful that this program can actually be and help us close more sales. We'll continue the demonstration by emulating the way in which the Sell Smarter method helps us manage sales workflows on a day-to-day kind of basis. And last, but certainly not least of all, we'll go through how you can implement this system and put it to work for you. All right, so without any further ado or delays, let's talk about why salespeople don't close. And, there are some very common reasons, but according to the Harvard Business Review, the number one reason that salespeople do not close sales is because their prospects and their customers just do not trust them. They do not respect them. Now, there are other reasons like being a bad communicator, not having enough product knowledge, poor selling skills, bad interpersonal skills. But the number one reason on this list was lack of trust and respect. So let's focus on that and try to figure out how we can build trust. How can salespeople build trust and respect in order that they can close more sales? And then how can Microsoft Outlook even help us do that? Well, Harvard Business Review goes on to discuss the best ways to build trust. The first way, first and foremost, is to operate with a high level of integrity. Now, at all things considered, integrity is just very simply this: doing what you say you're going to do. To build trust in sales, you have to embody the mindset that the relationship between you and your client is something to be cherished, that it's valuable, and take a long game approach to it. And every time that we do not do what we say we're going to do, that erodes trust. Okay, it has a very corrosive effect. The next step in this, another core principle of building trust in sales, is being consistent. Consistently showing up at your best, giving clients consistent levels of service that aren't exceptional one day and subpar the next. That's not being consistent. You know, have a consistent attitude towards your prospects and towards your customers. Not like love them one day and then hate them the next, because that kind of comes through. People sense that. And be consistent in how you manage your day. If you're not being consistent in managing your day, then it's like you're reinventing the wheel over and over and over again. It's the groundhog day of the business world, and it's horrible. All right, now when you are consistent, the results that your clients receive from you will be consistent as well. And when you're not consistent, they'll get inconsistent results, which will break trust in sales and in delivery. So consistency is important, as is being reliable. Your word is your bond, and not being reliable will quickly break trust in sales and whatever relationship that you may have built with your prospect or your customer up to that point. It's like integrity. It goes hand in glove with integrity. It's critical to only commit to those things that you can fulfill. Don't under promise and over deliver, because that is equally as dangerous as over promising and under delivering. Now, short term minded salespeople, they usually only ponder the quick sale, and they don't think about the long term effects of what it will mean if they can't deliver. They look for the quick payday and then they're on down the road. And they don't really think about what kind of bad public image or what kind of bad professional image that creates for them, let alone legal ramifications or the long-term loss in income. Okay, so on top of that, be knowledgeable. We want to be knowledgeable about our products and services, of course, and how they really help our customers. So that is really the last area of subject matter expertise that salespeople have to offer their customers. Customers can research you online. They can get that information at the drop of a hat about the products and the services and their features and even the benefits. But where salespeople have an advantage is that you have dealt with your products and services with dozens and dozens, if not hundreds and hundreds of customers and clients, and you know the use cases. And that's what sets you apart. That's what makes you special. Now, if you don't have all of that knowledge right now, or you don't have all of that experience right now to help your potential customers, then you at least know where to get it. It's not a bad thing to say that I don't know, or at least have that something similar to that, which is, you know what, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Customer, that's a good question. Let me go find that out for you. So you don't have to have all the answers, but what you do have to be willing to do is at least be willing to go find those answers. Next on our list is being curious. Now, being curious is an excellent way to build trust in sales for two reasons. First, it demonstrates that you truly do care and that you want to find out more about, your customers' struggles and their challenges and how you can help them get from where they are to where they want to be. And secondly, it gives you a chance to help them sell themselves. If you're doing all the talking, if you're doing all the selling, there's a very high probability that your customer is going to just shut down. They're going to close off. They're going to tune out. And at the end, they're going to end up feeling pressured. However, if you ask excellent questions, great probing questions, if you take something like a genuine interest in their situation, in their business, in their lives, there's you'll get them talking about what they need, about how they feel about the solution, and without any high pressure, they will help sell themselves on their need for a solution, and then you can do a great job guiding them into your product and service. And then once that's done, you know listen, be an excellent listener. Many people make the mistake of listening purely just to form a response. What am I going to say in response to what they're saying? Now, an alternative approach that's much better, we recommend active listening. The goal of which is to understand. I'm listening to understand what my customer is saying. That will help us, that will help lead us to formulate and ask follow-up questions that will really give clarity on what your customer's going through, their worldview, their business view, and to see how they think and they feel about their pain points, their issues, and possible solutions. Now, by doing this, you're building empathy and you're offering solutions that truly will align with your customers' beliefs and their values and help them accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. So, if we just focus on these top three ways to build trust: having integrity, being consistent, and being reliable, let's focus on them and how sales professionals can execute on them the easiest way possible. It really boils down to two words, and that's follow up. Okay. Doing what we're saying we're going to do and managing our day in such a way to make that happen. Follow up is so important for salespeople to build trust and to close more sales. And the research proves it. The research that comes out of the industry shows, the statistics show that even to the most skeptical salesperson, why it is so important for them to follow up. According to research in the industry, the most optimal number of attempts to contact a prospect before they actually close is 14. 14 touches. And that number's been increasing. These numbers come straight out of research from SalesLoft. Now, 5 years ago, it was only 8 touches. 10 years ago, it was only five, but now that number is 14. And with all the chatter in marketing and all the information that's bombarding our customers on a daily basis, that number is probably going to continue to increase. But there's a big disconnect here. Okay. We see that those sales professionals who do make the follow ups, who do nurture the leads, and who do make the contacts with their prospects, who do what they say they're going to do, they experience 47% higher profit margins and 40% higher win rates than those who don't. But the disconnect is the stark reality. The truth is what happens is very few salespeople, almost half of all salespeople, stop after one contact, after one call. If that customer isn't ready to buy after one call, boom, I'm on to the next one. However, 80% of sales happen after the fifth call. 80% of your sales will happen after five. Okay, so why do salespeople not follow up? If we know that 80% of sales happen after five calls, but we're not making, you know, even the second or the third or the fourth, why is that? Well, let's look at some reasons. Number one, too many leads. That's right. Salespeople feel like they're getting too many leads, and what that really means, too many for them to handle. So if they don't get, a great reaction from that prospective buyer on the first call, they're getting a flow of leads from their marketing department, and they're going to follow up on the next one. They're going to look, for the hot lead. Salespeople are ADD and coin operated, and we chase the shiny things. And man, if that one customer at that point in time isn't ready to buy, we'll probably forget about it because we got five more coming down the pipeline at us. And that's true. Now, there's ways to overcome this. Now, the second reason is not having a follow-up system. And this is part and parcel with what we're talking about today. How do I continue to follow up with them? The marketing department, I'm getting all these leads off the internet, people calling in, and how do I stay on top of all the leads that come at me and all the ones that I wasn't able to follow up, last week, last month. I used to have a practice at the end of every month. This is before there was any kind of easily deployable CRM tools that were inexpensive and easy to use back in the 90s. I used to make an appointment with myself at the end of every month to go through all of my lead sheets. Yes, we used to write them down. I'd go through all of my lead sheets and say, okay, which ones are still active? How come I forgot about this one? I'd try to identify ones that I could start the month off the following month by making new calls to. So now we have a lot of different systems in place. We've got CRM tools, we've got all sorts of other things. However, we don't necessarily know how to use those tools in the best way possible. All right, the third reason salespeople don't follow up is because they forget. And I'm not talking about, again, the ADD and coin operated chasing shiny things, even though that's true. But salespeople are tasked with so many things these days. When marketing fails to deliver the number of leads required for us to make our sales quotas, for us to hit those revenue targets, guess what? We have to go out and start prospecting on our own. So if we're out prospecting on our own, looking for new leads, we can easily forget about the ones that weren't so hot to begin with. We also get called into sales meetings. We also get called into operations things. We also got to keep up on the admin stuff. Now a lot of salespeople are getting pressured to keep the CRM up to date, to be basic data entry clerks. So with all of these things going on in a salesperson's day-to-day life, how do we stay on top of it? Well, with so many different things, it's easy to forget about the Mr. or Miss prospect that we talked to last week that wasn't really hot at the moment, and they just kind of slipped through the cracks. Reason number four, they just don't know how. We want our sales team to follow up. We want the salespeople to make the eighth call, the ninth call, the 10th call to get up to 14 there. But you know what? We haven't trained them in the art of the follow up. Follow up is more than just a, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. A lot of salespeople think that's all that it is, calling to check in. The check in is so easy to check out. Being strategic. And you know what? It's not the responsibility of the salesperson to necessarily come up with the strategy and the process and the steps to do that. The company should already have that playbook for them. And if they don't, then guess what? Salespeople will just try to chase the next one. Reason number five, sadly, because of all the preceding, they become afraid of no. I hadn't talked to this guy in 3 weeks. I told him I was going to follow up the next week. He'll know that I kind of flipped, kind of forgot about him. And you know what? I'm just afraid he's going to blow me off. So I'll just do him the favor. I'll blow myself off for him. Okay. Now, what we're going to do in this webinar, we're going to focus in on this one right here. Reason number three: salespeople forgetting, because this is really part, due in part because of number one and number two, and really you could say number four. All right. So number three, sales people forget. So how can we help ourselves to not forget to follow up and to close more sales? You think, oh, that's a salesperson's job. Well, with all the things that we're getting hit with emails, we're getting hit with the text messages, we're getting hit with instant communications. If you've got Slack or Teams in your office now, or if you're using some of these other programs like Lark, where people can get immediate access to you, you're getting pulled in many, many different ways. And so what we want to do is we want to focus in on how we can now use the tool like Microsoft Outlook and focus in on one piece of that information, the email, the communications, and how we can focus that into helping us get better at closing sales, not forgetting and closing sales. So I want to start with a question on this. We're going to build a quick illustration just using the email piece of your communications. And that question is, how many emails do you get in an average day? And there'll be some people who, salespeople will say, well, I don't get enough because I'm not getting enough from customers that want to buy stuff. Okay, I know that's sometimes the case with me. Some people get a lot of emails. I've worked with a lot of people over the years. I had some people who were getting 200, 300 emails a day, and that used to be kind of uncommon 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but now it's kind of more common. I'm just going to say, for the sake of our illustration, that we're going to get 50 emails a day. Some people will look at me and say, man, that's low. So, okay, good. It's low. Let's just say it's low. If it's right on for you, fantastic. On average, I'm going to say let's just say 50 a day. Now, the next thing that we want to think about is how many times that you actually touch an email, open an email before you do something with it. And Gartner, years ago, they were Gartner DataQuest at the time, they conducted a study of North American knowledge workers. And they said that on average, a North American knowledge worker will open an email 3.5 times before taking action on it. So I want you to think about your inbox and how you've been acting in your inbox here recently. Sure, there are those emails that are the obvious spam, the obvious junk and garbage that we may not even open. We might just delete, or if we do open it, it's delete right away. But then there are those other emails that represent something a little bit more important. Maybe, our manager, our sales manager has emailed us for an update on the Acme account. Okay, well, let me type that out a little bit. Let me think about it, because you know what? I've got to call the guy over there, or I've got to go check my notes. I may not have that information. I might close that email and I'll come back to it later. He wants it by the end of the week. The sales manager wants it by the end of the week. And you know what? You'll go back to it a second time. You'll probably go back to it a third time. As you're scanning through your emails, new ones come in, and then you see that one from the sales manager again, and it says, "Oh, what did he want again? Oh, yeah, he wanted the update on the Acme account." Gartner says because of that practice, on average, we're looking at it 3.5 times. Okay, so that's not too much stretch of the imagination. It's probably very accurate. Next, I want you to think about how much time you're spending on each email. There are those again that we might spend 1 or 2 seconds in and delete it. There are those other ones that we might spend a few minutes in. The update on the Acme account, I might have to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes really gathering my thoughts, trying to recall what was going on, gathering my notes, and then typing it out, and really spending some time to give a thoughtful and type of response that my manager is looking for. But I'm going to say on average, let's say it's 30 seconds. There are those again that you delete quickly. There are those that we spend a lot of time with. I'm going to say on average, let's just say it's 30 seconds. If we go with me on this, okay? Next, how often are you interrupted at work? Now, researchers at University California Irvine estimate that we get interrupted once every 11 minutes. This was a study they did about 8 years ago. And every time that we're interrupted, it takes us about 25 minutes to gather our thoughts and to get back to it, to get whatever we were working on. So I want you to picture this. I'm working away, typing on that email to my sales manager, giving him the update on the Acme account. And one of my colleagues comes into my office and says, "Hey, what are you doing for lunch today?" And I stop what I'm doing. I look at him and say, "Well, I'm doing nothing. I got to finish this update for the boss. Okay, I'll talk to you later." Okay, bye. Am I able to just get right back to where I was on that? No, I really can't. I've got to gather my thoughts again for a moment. I got to think about it. All right. So I'm going to reread it. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where my train of thought was. And boom, 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 boom. Now I'm back into it. That interruption only was probably 2 or 3 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, but it took me at least 15 seconds to 30 seconds to get back to it. Here's what we call the cost of an interruption. It is a factor. And we're going to say that it's 2.5 times the length of the interruption. And certain studies out of George Mason University, they also show that it's usually about that 2 to 3 times the interruption. All right, now, if we were to multiply all of this out, what would that number represent? I'm not looking for the actual number just yet, but what does this represent? And I've had answers before that say, "Oh, that's time wasted." Well, no, not all of it's wasted. Some amount of it is, but it represents the time that we spend in email every single day. And if we look at that, we multiply it out, then that's, 3.5 hours, getting close to almost 4 hours here. And people look at me and they say, "Well, yeah, that's probably a very low estimate, Scott. I probably spend at least 4 hours a day in my emails. Most of my communications are that way." So, okay, I get it. You know, in fact, that same Gartner study that we talked about said that people were spending 4.5 hours a day in their email. And that's common. Again, 10 years ago, people would look at me and say, "Oh, you're crazy, Paulson. I'm not spending that much, maybe an hour, maybe two at most." But now, guess what? We're all there. Most everybody is spending a lot of time in their email using Microsoft Outlook. And you know what? There has just got to be a better way of doing things. And that's what we're talking about here today. I want to show you a better way. And that better way is called the Sell Smarter method. The Sell Smarter method focuses on three areas: giving you best practice tools, giving you best practice processes, and giving you best practice behaviors. So let's look at each one of these very quickly in turn. Best practice tools. In this case, it's Microsoft Outlook and how we use the Sell Smarter method. The best practice process. I'll give you an example of one. When I'm talking about best practice processes, one of the fundamental best practice processes that we use is in the Sell Smarter method. It's called the 4D formula. Now, this is not my creation. I want to give credit where credit is due. This comes directly from former President Dwight D. Eisenhower. He led the Allied forces to victory over Nazi Germany in World War II, led the D-Day invasion, and he served as the 34th president of the United States. It's also how he said he made his decisions. In the Eisenhower matrix is what it used to be called. And we've boiled it down into the 4D formula. He uses the same thing. The first D in our 4D formula is called do it now. And I want you to think about your inbox right now. You're going through your emails. You stop your work on that update to the Acme account that you're giving to your boss because guess what? We got a little ding or ba-bam or some kind of noise or visual interruption that says, I got a new email, I got a new message, I got a new IM, I got da, 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 right? It interrupted me. I stopped my work on it. And so I look at it and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to apply one of these 4Ds to it. The first is do it now. If I can do this in under 2 minutes, then get it done. Get it done and move on. Now, if it can't be done quickly, if it can't be done quickly, then you'll do it later, right? Wrong. There is no such thing as later on the calendar. We want to pick a very specific date. And this is one of the things that Eisenhower was noted for. If he wasn't going to do it right away, he would select a day. He wouldn't say, oh, I'll do that later. He would select a day. When am I going to do that? Be specific. And there is a way inside of Microsoft Outlook where we can create a task and date activate it into the future so that it will show up on our to-do list on that date. What that what that does in essence is it helps turn our traditional vertical to-do list. We've all got something like this, whether it's a mental to-do list or whether you've got it written down somewhere. We've all got a vertical to-do list. And biggest challenge with this is it's not telling me when I've got to do things. Even if I prioritize this and I gave it an A, a B, or a C, like some time management methods do, I'm still looking at the long laundry list of 5,000 things that I want to accomplish in my lifetime. I've got climbing Mount Kilimanjaro on there. I've got take out the trash, to deliver the dry cleaning, finish the expense report. They're all jumbled together, but they're not given a date. When we start date activating them, then we create a horizontal to-do list. And now I can look at, the three things that I want to do on Sunday, the 18 on Monday, the 14 on Tuesday, 11 on Wednesday, and so forth and so on. And I'm not distracted by the list of 5,000 things and trying to pick out what I want to do next on it. Now I'm looking at just the 3 or the 10 or the 15 and saying, okay, this is what I've said I got to get done on this day. What am I going to focus on? It narrows our focus on what's important for that day. The next D in our Eisenhower Matrix 4D formula is delegated. I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it at any point in time in the future. Guess what? If somebody on my team, like a sales admin or support staff, can do this to 80% of my ability, I'm going to delegate it. I'm going to let them do it. I'm going to give them the opportunity for growth. And I'm going to focus on the more important things that I have to get done. And then lastly, is delete it or file it away. I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it at any point in time in the future. I'm not even going to delegate. I'm going to delete it. This might be your joke of the day. This might be that junk email. This might be just the stuff that steals our time. But the point is this: with this process, if you just start using this process on everything that you do in your inbox, it will start saving you time. You'll only touch things once. This is the proverbial touch it once principle that maybe you've heard about. Okay, now this is a best practice process. We teach you 7 different processes in the Sell Smarter using Microsoft Outlook workshop. And so now we want to look at how that translates into behaviors. Because if you have a tool and a process is a way to use a tool, then that should translate into behaviors, the actions, what we actually do. So, best practice behaviors when it comes to email. Number one, do not use your inbox as the opening screen. And there's a way inside of Outlook we can change that. By default, Microsoft Outlook comes to you with the inbox as the opening screen set as its default. Now, when I get into that inbox, and that's the first thing that I see, I start becoming more reactive because I'm scanning the emails. Oh, there's got to be something important. I'm looking for something important. And I'm not saying that, you've been that we've been doing this on purpose, but it's just our nature. It's our habit. We want to get into that email. We want to find something that's important. We'll scan up and down. Do, 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 do. Okay. The challenge is that email has been proven to be just as addictive as smoking marijuana, and it lowers our IQ by the same amount. So we start getting reactive. We start getting sucked into that email. Well, then we're on to the next email, and I'm processing email, and I get to the next email. Okay, I'll get this one. And guess what? I feel like I'm being productive, and maybe I've knocked out 5, 10, 15 emails, but have I really been focusing on what's most important? I know before this program, I used to do this. This used to be the beginning of my day. I'd get into email and be reactive to it. And there were times where I had forgotten about more important things like phone calls to customers or meetings with the team. And I'd start running late because I was in reactive mode. So we don't want to use the inbox as the opening screen. Number two, we want to clear the inbox every day. And I hear people laughing already saying, yeah, yeah, right, Scott. Well, it's absolutely possible. If we use the 4D formula and we process email and we get it out of the inbox, then it is absolute reality. I have seen it happen. I actually am able to do it every day. That at the end of the day, when I'm done with my work, my inbox is empty. And I can go home and check out and not have to worry about it. One thing that will help us in the pursuit of having a clean inbox or ending with a clean inbox every day is scheduling uninterrupted time for emails. And again, I hear the laughter coming up saying, that's a pipe dream. I wish that would be nice. But guess what? Even if you can't schedule uninterrupted time for it, then at least when you do go to your inbox, at least use the 4Ds. If you're going to open an email or two and try to start working on them, at least use the 4D formula. Use the Eisenhower matrix. Get to work on it in a very clear fashion. Okay. All right. Number 4, read email once, apply the 4Ds. You getting the picture here of the 4Ds, the Eisenhower matrix, how it all boils down to how we're making decisions. And then this is fifth out of our 10 best practices, converting emails into tasks, appointments, and contacts. I'll give you an example of how this works inside of Microsoft Outlook. The point here is the inbox is not the place to store information. It's horrible for it because if we're receiving information through our inbox, through our text and all that, primarily in that inbox, we want to have as uncluttered an inbox as possible so we can make good decisions about what we need to do with what's coming at us. And there's a way to process this all out of there, and you'll see it here in just a little while. Okay, now if you just even apply these 5 best practice behaviors with this tool, the way that we showed you in this process, with just this one process, here's what's going to happen. First of all, that 50 emails a day, that's probably not going to change. That's probably going to stay the same. That 50 emails a day, we can put a little filter on your inbox. We might be able to get that 50 emails a day down a little bit. But if we do apply the 4D formula, instead of reading emails 3.5 times before taking action on it, we'll just read it one time and we'll be done with it. And I'm even going to give you this, that 30 seconds right next to it. That 30 seconds, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Instead of averaging 30 seconds on that email, let's average 3 minutes. Spend a little bit more time on that email. This is our proverbial slowing down so we can speed up. If you'll spend just that extra moment with it, then good things will happen. And I'll show you. Now, if we turn off all the interruptions from emails, from texts, from stuff like that, then we can get rid of that cost of an interruption factor. And I already hear the complaints. Well, Scott, I gotta have the emails. I gotta know when I'm being, when somebody's reaching out to me. I gotta know when that text comes. I gotta know when that. First of all, here's principle number one: use the right tool for the job. If somebody needs to get in touch with you immediately, there's something called the telephone, and that's the best way to do it. Okay. But even still, there's a way that we can where we can take the decision making power away from Outlook to where they don't let everybody interrupt you, but you decide who can interrupt me. There's different rules and filters we can put in place, and we teach you how to do that in the program. If you do all of this, here's what happens. You will not be spending that much time in email every day. You'll be spending only 150 minutes. You go from that 218 down to 150 minutes, and you're going to gain up to an hour every day. So you've been wasting about an hour every day unfruitfully, unproductively in email. I've seen this many, many, many times, and I have helped many, many, many people get control over all of this. And I don't want you to take my word for it. I want to show you a live demonstration. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I am going to come back and share my screen with you here. And I'm going to launch my actual Outlook. Outlook's up here. Double click it. We're going to launch it. And in this live demonstration, here's the first thing I want you to notice as this opens up. This is my day-to-day working view of Microsoft Outlook. It is what I use day in, day out, and as it loads, here we go. I want you to take a look at my view. Here's what we have. You see as this continues, something, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Mine opens up to this view. You see the 1-day calendar here. And let me remove myself from the view here. Boom, there we go. So you can see the whole thing. Here's my 1-day calendar. Today is Friday, July 1st, 2022. And that's when I'm doing this. Here's my 1-day calendar. These are all my time commitments. This is where I need to be. Over here to the right, this is a date activated and prioritized to-do bar. These are the things that I said I had to complete today, that I had to get done today. And then over here on the very left, this is the folder view. It opens to my calendar, and I get to see every folder inside of my Outlook. So if I start my day right here, I see what I have to do, where I have to be, my calendar, 1 day, what I have to do, okay? And then email is this number. I got 14 things sitting over there. I don't know what they are just yet. I got 5 things sitting in my junk email. You see it down here. I can now make a better decision about how I can start, processing email. I had a sales presentation to Big Corp. I'm worked out there today. Got all these things going on. Okay. Now, a few things about this. This to-do bar over here. You don't have this unless you've taken my program. You do not have this. Your to-do bar is a big jumbled mess, and 99%, 99.5% of Microsoft Outlook users do not even use this. They may not even know about it. But these are the things that I want to get done today. So I say, okay, I got to follow up on the Acme proposal, Wiley E. Coyote. Now, here's the other thing. I want you to see this. These are high priority. I said these 6 items. I got 21 things to get done today. These 6 are high priority items. Then here's normal priority. Another 6 normal, and then another 9 down here in the low. Microsoft lets us do this. You don't need any special software for this. This is available inside of your Microsoft Outlook program right now. So, do you want me to show you how to do this? How to change your screen? Okay, I will. Here we go. I'm going to give you a freebie here. First of all, I'm going to go to my inbox. I have no clue what's sitting in there. Okay, a lot of stuff from LinkedIn, some follow-up stuff, but I'm going to change this is probably your normal operating view. When you open up Outlook, this is probably what you see. You see your inbox. You're right here. And you're going through all this stuff saying, oh, what do I do? What do I do next? What do I do next? Now, I hope you just see the difference, number one, between this and what I just showed you. Because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to show you how to do it. So here's how you create that 1-day calendar view with the to-do bar, with the task pad on the right side, okay? First of all, you're going to click on your calendar. Boom, right here. Now, what shows in your calendar? Most people probably see their work week. I am making the very specific suggestion and requirement that you change that to day. Well, Scott, I like to see the whole week. I want to see my whole week at a glance. That's fine. You can go check your whole week at a glance. But when you start your day, when you launch Outlook, because that's usually one of the first things that we do at the beginning of our day, we launch Outlook, we get plugged in, see what's going on. All we have to know about immediately is today. What's going on today? And that's it. So click on the 1-day view up here at the top. Click calendar, click the 1-day view. Now come up here to that top menu across the top, click on the word view. Once you got the view showing in your ribbon, there's something over here called the to-do bar. Click on that to-do bar and click on tasks. And then boom, here's your to-do bar. It shows up. Looky there. Mine's already configured, like I said. There's a lot of work that has to go into configuring this to-do bar. Yours probably is empty, and I'm not going to go reset my view and then rebuild it to show you what yours looks like. You already know what yours look like. If you've ever tried tasks before, you probably have a list of tasks, and they're definitely not in this high, normal, and low category like mine is. But we want this to be the view. Once you have this view, then we're going to come up here to the top left, click on File, the word File, and you get to the main menu. And down here at the bottom left, you see the word Options. Click on the word Options, and then you're going to have the Outlook Options dialog box pop up. And then you're going to go down the left-hand side and look for the word Advanced. Click on Advanced. And right here near the top, it says Outlook Start and Exit. Mine says Calendars. Yours probably says Inbox. Let me just kind of show you here. Okay. Yours probably looks like this. Yours probably says Inbox. So what I want you to do, if you're following along with me and you have your Microsoft Outlook open, click on that Browse button, come down here to Calendar, click OK. Now you should have the word Calendar there. That is where Outlook will start and exit from every day. Now here's the other thing. I want you to check this box here. Empty deleted item folders when exiting Outlook. Yours is probably unchecked. Check that for me. And I have some people already going into a fit, a lot of anxiety happening. But Scott, I store everything in my deleted items folder. Well, you know what? There's better places to store it. If you're there, if you're feeling that, okay, don't check that, because I would have to show you how to create a storage system that is best for you. Okay. But in the program, look, this gets checked. Anything that I have deleted that goes into my deleted items folder, it gets deleted, emptied when I close Outlook. All right. Then once you've got that, click on OK. One other thing. Hold on. One other thing. See this area that says reminders here? If you are so bold, some you probably have some of these checked. That when emails come in, play a reminder. What are the reminders? Well, let's uncheck all the reminders. Get that empty. Don't want any reminders. Those are the little interruptions that Microsoft has said they get to interrupt you whenever they decide to, when a new email comes in or anything. Well, I want you to decide when people get to interrupt you and for what reason. So uncheck those. Try it for a few days, see how you like it. Come back to it if you don't. Take the program. You'll absolutely love unchecking those reminders. Click OK, and then you're back here. Okay, now that is how to create the opening view. That's the home base. What we want to do next in our live demonstration is show you how a average or normal working day would work for a salesperson. And I've got a couple of sample tasks, a couple of sample stuff and things in there that will show you how this works. But I want you to imagine with me that I'm starting my workday, and I've just launched Outlook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back over here, okay, and I'm going to walk you through this. You'll see a workflow process, and I want you to start putting this into your, under your scrutiny. Say, Scott, how will this work? How will this work for me? How will this work for you in your day to day, and help you follow up on things? All right, so let me jump back over here. Okay, there we are. So here I am. I just started my day, and I look at my where I've got to be. All right, right now I'm in a webinar. Don't have much of anything else going on. I'm looking at what I got to do. Well, I've got this thing here, number one on my list. Follow up on the Acme proposal with Wiley E. Coyote. Okay. And then I've got some emails over here. Well, you know what? That Acme proposal is pretty important. I better give Wiley a call. So here's what I do. I double click on the task. Boom, boom. Double click it. It opens up. And here's what we'll see in this task. A few things. We got start date, due date, and we've got status and priority up here. The subject is important. Always want to have a strong action verb. Acme proposal does not count as a task. Follow up on Acme proposal counts as a task. And you've got this white space below it. This white space down here, I typed in a note, had to check with his boss for budget approval. Okay, well, guess what? You can type up to like 10,000 lines of information in here. You can start putting stuff in here that you need for that task. You can also click on insert and start attaching files. You can navigate to anywhere on your computer. Any file that you can navigate to, you can put inside of this task. Other Outlook items like other emails and stuff like that, you can put inside of this task. But what you do not have, that I do, is down here on the bottom. You see this contacts button? You don't have one, probably, but I do. This used to be standard in Outlook before 2016. I think 2016, 2017, they took it out of there. This is the linking function. This is how Outlook really works as a low grade database, a personal information management tool. Not quite CRM, but pretty close. Now, what I do is when I come here to Wiley E. Coyote, I click on it and I get a little summary card. I've got to hit these three buttons here, say go to the or edit contact, and guess what? That contact record, Wiley E. Coyote's contact record, pops up for me. And in that contact record, if you've ever worked with them, you know what these look like. You see, their name, you got all their information here, their phone number, their address. And again, in the notes pane, you can put in up to 10,000 lines of information. You can insert files. I've got a Word file there. And you can actually start operating out of the contact record, much like you could anywhere else. I can send them an email from here. I can actually make a phone call from here, right here, call. This is connected to my Microsoft Teams. So if I hit that, it'll actually start dialing through Microsoft Teams. So I can actually come in here. So as I'm done with here, let's just say, today being 7/1/22. Okay. He needs a new bid with updated equipment. Let's say I called him. Here we go. Now, what I'm going to do also here, one of the other things that I can do in here is assign a task. So I need to create a new bid for Mr. Coyote, and I'm not going to do it right now. I've got 10 other things on my plate. I told him I would work on it tomorrow. So I am going to create a task. Here we go, assign task. And now by default, Microsoft Outlook makes it a task request. So this looks like it's going to go to Wiley E. Coyote. The first thing I do is I cancel the assignment. Boom, click on that. Cancel the assignment. Now this is just a regular task. And now I say, okay, redo Acme bid for, now I always put the name in there. This is what I did for Wiley E. Coyote. Guess I'm working with different people on different projects at that company. Now, here's the other thing, start date or due date. I focus on the start date. This is what's most important. This is the date I want it to show up on my task pad. So boom, 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 boom. I look at this. I'm not going to, I'm going to do it on the 4th of July. I'll do it. Told them I'll do it Tuesday. There we go. July the 5th is when I'm going to do it. And I'm going to assign a priority to this. High, normal, or low. I'm going to make it high. And then I'm going to type in whatever notes. There we go. Insert anything else in there that I want to do it. I'm going to now save and close that task. I'm back here at Wiley's contact. Do I need to add anything to that? No, I'm done with it. I save and close that. I'm done with that. Okay, good. Close that. I'm back to the original task here that says follow up on Acme proposal with Wiley Coyote. I'm done with this. So I am going to change the status to completed. It is done. Come back to the main menu, hit save and close, and boom. Number one, you see it is off my list here. It's not up here. It was number one in here. Let me show you where it is. This is now down here under the completed items. That way it's off my list. Number two thing that you do not see that task here with Wiley E. Coyote because I did not make it for today. I made it for July the 5th. I click on July the 5th and it will show up actually down here on my daily one. So I've got redo Acme bid for Wiley E. Coyote right there. Boom. It's not going to distract me until the 5th. Okay. All right. What a wonderful way to operate, huh? All right. Now, like I said, I want you to think about how that would work for you as a salesperson, how that would work for you as a sales team. But you're probably saying some of you are probably saying, Scott, we already have a CRM. I already got like, Salesforce or HubSpot or Pipedrive. Well, guess what? You probably already have Outlook as well, and this will integrate with it. I'm not going to create more complexity. This will not create more complexity on your tech stack. What it will do is simplify how Outlook is used and how it works with all the other tools that you're using. If you don't have a CRM, this is a must take program. This is absolutely a must take program. So let me jump back to this. How do you do it? How do you implement this? We did the live demonstration, but how do we implement the Sell Smarter program? Okay, first of all, as a reward for sitting through this webinar on how to improve your sales performance using Microsoft Outlook, I want to give you that coupon code. And that coupon code very simply is this: it's summer sale. Click the button below. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link in the YouTube. Click that button. It'll take you to the sales page for the program, and then click on get started when you get there. It's going to say it's $475, but if you put in the code summer dash sale, it'll take 90% off for you. And the only question that I want to ask you now then is, look, if you're having problems, if you're having challenges staying on top of your sales workload, you know, what's holding you back? $50 is not a lot of money. And I'll even go farther than that. I'll take the additional step. If you take the program and it doesn't meet every single one of your needs, if it doesn't help you out, I'll give you your money back. I don't want to take your money if I'm not helping you. That's not the kind of guy that I am. I want to help you. I want to help you get on top of your selling workload. I want to help you make more money. I want to help you achieve the selling that you can do. And this program will absolutely help you with that if you're having any kind of challenges. Okay. All right. Hey, I want to thank you, number one, for being with me today. I've truly enjoyed our time together. And give me comments, give me some feedback, put it in there. Just tell us what you think. Good, bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Tell us what you think. Take the class and let everybody else know what you think about it too. All right. My name's Scott Paulson. It has been a true pleasure, a true joy. God bless, and keep on selling.